Hello, world. Welcome to the official YouTube channel of the Fractal Journal. My name is Alex Weir, and at the Fractal Journal you can find all sorts of stuff like essays and stories, and the link to that is down below. Today, I have a mishmash of topics. The title is 10 Years Prior, and I have a picture of my bike in the back of my car, because I just didn't know of anything else that I could use as a template offhand. So why not? Underneath that picture, there's something from 1989, which is the year I was born, in the city I was born, Moscow. I believe it's a picture of like a rock concert or something like that. And just kind of gives you a feel for what's going on there. Well, then I'm going to now play this.
Difficult question because I didn't know we were in the information society. By information society, I presume you mean computers and so forth. I think it's terrific. Without it, we wouldn't be nearly what we are today. It gives us the opportunity to grow both as
So the
human
questions that he
beings
asked
and
about
scientifically to make
the information
advancements.
age and the answer given was one of, well, what do you think about it? And then the guy responds by saying, I think it's generally a good thing. Well, this came from 1979, and you can tell by the diction, by the style of dress, that it is a very, very different time. And so 1979 is obviously just 10 years before 1989 when I was born. That picture in the title is from. And this is by some guy named Hoffman conducting a street interview in New York City. And as I scroll through the comments there, I noticed someone mentioned something about New Yorkers not sounding like New Yorkers anymore, which led to kind of a discussion of how accents have sort of started to blend together. And that reminds me that I've had similar discussions with friends about how they sound so drastically different from their southern parents, because I'm here in South Carolina, despite having grown up in the South. Well, all this homogenization is really the result of the global village. People kind of sort of gain, at least in terms of the English-speaking world, a Californiization almost, to where there's this informal and often accompanied by upspeak kind of thing that happens because people watch television and then they just start talking like that. And the negative aspect of this is the loss of diversity. Sure, we still have accents and all of that, but it seems that with the kind of whittling away of accents, as I've just mentioned, there's a whole suite of behaviors that get homogenized, and it leads to a less rich experience, some might argue. So if we're kind of back up to what I'm saying, a bit ago I was recommended an article by Firefox Pocket type thing, from The Atlantic called Why Urban Millennials Love Uniqlo. And I thought this was really kind of interesting that Uniqlo was founded in 1984, and Uniqlo is kind of a bland sort of clothing style. You know, a lot of those kind of segmented jackets people wear, that's, I guess, a Uniqlo thing, but really it's all about being kind of bare bones and minimalist, which is kind of cool from a perspective, but again, 1984, everyone blending together into one thing, and it's all generally kind of being done by these millennial hipsters that want to buck any kind of brand association. And I'm all for not wanting to wear like Ralph Lauren all the time and being part of that weirdness, but to just kind of, there's a certain pretentiousness to me about just always dressing in a t-shirt and having your beard and then having these really minimalistic clothes. It's like, oh, well, I'm too busy and too deep to care about my appearance. It's at the same time as you're caring about your appearance. I don't know. It's a little bit infuriating and telling about a lot, to be quite honest. I mean, it's not, and then let's get back to this broader topic of this globalization, this kind of convergence to where there's this gray blob homogeneity. It's not like entirely terrible that we've got this global mindset and everyone is kind of, I don't know, doing all these trends, since the other side of the coin is provincialism, where everybody's in their little bubble. But at the same time, via globalization and this broad view, we now have these echo chambers forming, so we're coming back to the same problem, which now leaves us with this question: how do we balance, the input of the global village, as it were, making this kind of more the same with our local flavor and our provinciality? And I feel like that there's going to be the bland blob, and then there's going to be a bunch of really weird, hyper-focused bubbles feeding on each other. And we've kind of been seeing this play out in the left-right paradigm in the United States, where each side kind of has like anarcho-capitalist ad nauseum type of just labeling to the nth degree. Yeah, and also I wanted to briefly mention Article 13. Apparently, and I get my news in part from Sargon of Akkad on these sorts of things, so I'll always be linking a lot to his stuff and Tim Pool's stuff. The EU, and this is not anybody's opinion, it's literally, he showed a clip of the EU voting, took about, I don't even know how many seconds, 16 seconds to vote on this Article 13 proposition. And it's just bad news for creators in general, for people who enjoy content on YouTube, the viewers as well, because what it's going to do is make it so that for copyright reasons, the EU and various other institutions, corporate interests, etc., can sue YouTube rather than just the person infringing on copyright, and this will in turn lead YouTube to create yet more draconian algorithms, which will make it really hard to tell that nuance where you have the fair use of being commentary. Yeah. So we really got to keep an eye on this, because it's part of this globalization, and the EU is this globalist body that's kind of turning everything to a homogenous pile of crap. Thanks for listening. If you like what you saw, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and mosey on over to my main website, www.fractaljournal.com. Any comments, good or foul, are appreciated. Well, I mean, just don't be a complete prick, but you know what I'm saying. I don't bite if you have some kind of criticism to make, whatever it may be. Cheers.